What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. If you're scared about coronavirus, this is the mask you need. So I've been doing a little reading here, and a lot of people are worried about coronavirus. I was actually out grocery shopping today, and I saw a person with one of those surgical masks on, you know, just the flat fabric ones, and everything I've read said that those are pretty much worthless. I think they are really just to kind of catch your breath and your spit and make sure that nothing falls into a patient, but they're not really like a filtering type of device. Now, a lot of people will step up to this, and this is just a dust mask. This is something I have because you can buy these in bulk, and you can see here it's kind of like I don't know, some sort of like paper fabric. It kind of feels a little bit like Tyvek, but obviously it's porous enough that you can breathe through. There's even a little built-in wire here so that you can form it around your nose like this. You can get a nice tight seal. And these are great when you're sanding, painting, anything that's putting particulate in the air, because as you're breathing in, you're drawing air kind of all over here, and it's going to stick to this, and that's going to keep that powder and whatnot from collecting in your nose and your mouth and ultimately in your lungs. Now, what this doesn't have, apparently, is a good enough filtration system that it can filter out things like a virus. And so what I was doing is reading, and I was on like the CDC website as well as some other ones, and they were talking about the mask that you need if you want to prevent the pickup of a virus is an N95 respirator. Now, I don't know what the N95 means. I'm assuming it is some sort of, it says an N95 standard there. I'm not sure if that's a size or something, but what this does is provide enough filtration that wearing something like this could actually protect you from coronavirus. So my assumption is when you see those pictures of those emergency workers and things like that on the airplanes, or, you know, wrapped in their hazmat suits, you know, and wearing a paper mask, that this is what they are talking about. Now, you might be able to see here, this is much more molded. It actually feels a little bit like, you know, an egg carton type of material. Not quite as thick, but, you know, it is much more structurally sound than this paper, and obviously it doesn't let as much light through there either. It's just thicker and obviously quite a bit more molded. There's no metal piece here because it's all kind of universally molded. We also have two elastic bands here, top and bottom, and so that should create a pretty nice seal around you. But what you have here is this little valve, and it's like a plastic cap. It kind of reminds me of like a plastic bottle cap, but what you can see there inside is a little filter screen. Maybe you can see that. And you can see it, that white piece behind this little grate there is a very fine mesh screen. And so I think when you're breathing in, this is probably not as porous. It will not let as much air in, or if it does, it's so thick it's not letting much in. But this is really what is going to do the respirating. And so if I just throw it on here, just want to show you what this is like. I think they're supposed to be kind of universal. Seems to fit me pretty good. As I'm breathing in and out, the amount of air that this can exchange is probably kind of limited. So as I was blowing out, I could feel a little bit of leakage as I was really putting a lot of air in there and overpressuring it. But in terms of breathing in and out, it seems to do a pretty good job, actually. And I can feel the air being blown out sideways like this when I'm doing it. Now, is this comfortable? Oh, yeah, it's pretty comfortable. I mean, it's shaped pretty good. It's putting probably a little more pressure on my nose bridge than I would prefer, but you can kind of adjust it there. You just want to make sure you have a good enough seal here so that the air has to go through here as opposed to slip in somewhere else. And this is supposed to be good enough to prevent you from catching something like the coronavirus, maybe influenza. So if you're going to buy a mask, buy an N95 mask as opposed to these paper masks, or certainly over those plain old surgical masks. But I would say that having some of these is probably not a problem just for doing things around the house. When I use these, sometimes I will take off the mask and I will find that I actually have a lot of dust on my face still, but just because these are good for catching most of the debris, not all of it. And a respirator like this can actually be good for, you know, if you're spraying a little paint, or, you know, sometimes I'm out spraying bugs or spraying fertilizer and things like that, or a bug killer, and, you know, that stuff is at some level pretty toxic. especially for bugs. And you don't want to breathe it in. You just don't want to get some of that. So I think this will do a better job than this, even for kind of your household duties. So if you want to pick this up, this ProWorks protective wear set of masks here has, I think, 10 masks, and it was a little expensive. It was like 55 bucks. I'm not sure if that's kind of the normal pricing, but at $5 a mask, they can definitely be useful anyway. So if you're worried about coronavirus, this is the mask you want. Even if you're not, maybe it's something that you want because of the work you do, you know, professionally or around your house. Hey, I will put a link to these masks in the description below. Peter Von Panda, out.